This is Oak Flat, a 6.5 square mile plot of land in Arizona's Tonto National Forest. The land is sacred to the Western Apache people. To you, it may look like any other Arizona desert, but to the Apache people, it's the birthplace of their religion. And then there's Resolution Copper, a project of the world's second largest mining corporation. To them, it's something entirely different, a massive copper deposit, and the opportunity to make lots and lots of money.
A mining giant is finishing up plans to dig under part of the area named Oak Flat.
This is where God touched the world. This is where a deity resides.
This copper mine would essentially destroy Oak Flat and some of the surrounding areas.
Oak Flat is really the cornerstone of our religion.
In the late 19th century, the Apache were driven away from Oak Flat and forced to live on the nearby San Carlos Reservation. But they still go back to learn about their history, live off the land, and practice their religious beliefs.
When my mother and my father would take us here as a little girl, we would get off the truck and we would pray. We get this teaching of understanding that everything is living, that Yosin has given life to it, and we have to respect it. All I knew as a little kid, was I would come here and I could be free. Our freedom to be Apache, our freedom to have our religion was here.
Ancient ceremonies hidden from outsiders are a part of this geocentric religion. One ceremony where filming is forbidden is called a sunrise ceremony.
The sunrise ceremony is a coming-of-age ceremony when a girl in our community has her first menstrual. It is within that year she has her coming-of-age ceremony.
Over the course of 3 days, the community comes together to sing songs and dance for hours on end. Angelic spirits called Gon, Apache believe they live in nearby Gon Canyon, possess the bodies of the crown dancers and dance with the girl.
And so you have these men who wear these masks and these crowns, and when they wear it, they're no longer the man that they were, that we call them. They're the Gon, they're the spirit. And we see them as this higher being. And they dance in the ceremony, and the girls will dance behind them, in a sense following their lead.
On the morning of the third day, the girl is covered in white clay.
And when they paint her white, it symbolizes that she's coming into this womanhood, into this new world. Her eyes are closed and it's covered with paint. But when the godmother opens her eyes and wipes away the paint, she is no longer looking at the world as a little girl. She's looking at the world as a simkleshe, as the first woman. And that's her first day of being reborn. And so this is a whole celebration in our community about the next generation, about us being able to give life. And it's amazing to see that one individual, one girl having her menstrual is being celebrated by her entire family and friends and community because she can carry such life within her. I'm 22 years old and I haven't had a child yet. And I've always wanted to have a kid. And when I come here, I almost feel rushed, like I should have a child now because I would at least want my child to experience the land, because that's my worry is that I don't have a kid. And so I should have one so that they can at least experience and breathe in the air because, like I said, it's sacred. We are surrounded by sacredness by standing here, and it's going to be gone forever.
Oak Flat was protected by the federal government starting in 1955. It's even included in the National Register of Historic Places as an important feature of the Western Apache landscape as a sacred site. Miners discovered copper beneath Oak Flat in 1995, and this is where Resolution Copper comes in. Their parent company, Rio Tinto, is an Australian company with a horrifying track record of dealing with indigenous peoples in their own country. They spent years lobbying U.S. Congress to give them Oak Flat in exchange for land that Resolution Copper owned elsewhere. These lobbying efforts weren't exactly a masterclass in ethical lawmaking. One congressman was convicted for soliciting a bribe in exchange for supporting the land transfer. Finally, in 2014, unable to get support for the land transfer outright, senior members of Congress, including Senator John McCain, a powerful member of the Senate Armed Forces Committee, and Senator Jeff Flake, a former lobbyist for Rio Tinto, they cut a deal to attach the land transfer without a vote and behind closed doors to the National Defense Authorization Act, a massive bill that Congress must pass each year. So, thanks to this last-minute backdoor deal with the government, Resolution Copper was now one step closer to carrying out their plans to mine Oak Flat, adding to 10 major copper mines already operating in Arizona. And Resolution Copper's mine would completely destroy Oak Flat, not only its natural landscape, but cultural artifacts and burial grounds too, including ancient petroglyphs.
So the copper deposit is over a mile underground, and there's no way to get to it from the surface. So the copper company's plan is to tunnel underneath Oak Flat and blast at the copper with dynamite and then have robots take out the ore. But over time, the amount of ground that they're going to remove is going to cause the surface of Oak Flat to collapse into a crater that's 2 miles wide and over 1,000 feet deep. And Oak Flat will just be gone, swallowed in a crater and gone forever. Nobody disputes that this has always been the land of the Western Apaches, but in the 1800s, when silver and gold were found nearby, the United States government authorized the wholesale destruction of Apaches, driving them off their land and confining them on a reservation, which was really more like a concentration camp, in order to make way for commercial mining interests. So the tragic irony here is that really history is literally repeating itself, with the government allowing a mining company to drive the Apaches off their land again, only this time to destroy it once and for all.
I want to thank all the people that have supported and all the people that are here. We heard it loud and clear in Indian country that anything on federal land is not safe. Nothing is holy and nothing is sacred to them.
The Apache people have been fighting the land exchange in the courts for years. In 2022, their lawsuit is expected to be appealed to the United States Supreme Court. They hope that under the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, the government must protect their land and their freedom.
This action by our government is not only unjust, but also violates multiple federal laws, including the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, the Free Exercise Clause of the Constitution, and the government's own treaty entered in 1852 with the Western Apache peoples. What you heard at oral argument was the United States, our government, saying that it has complete authority over all federal lands to destroy any sacred site that it wants, and that it won't face any scrutiny for that whatsoever.
I think it's really hard for people to understand that our spirituality and that our connection to Oak Flat and to the earth is a religion. Without it, without the land, without Chichiplagot, we have no spirit. We have no faith anymore because, you know, our food that nurtures us and our babies are going to be gone. Our shelter, our yucca, everything that we use, from our shoelaces to how we wash our hair to the stones we use for our prayers and our ceremony, are all a part of this land. You know, and when she dies, eventually our religion will go with it.